Hey my friends, this is Rick Titan here and welcome to the very first episode of The Spirit of Success. And today I'm very excited because I know you're going to be excited too once we get halfway through it even. We have Douglas Vermeeren with us today. He's a millionaire mentor. He's written many books. One of my favorite is The Millionaire Frequency. And he's also writing How to Be a Self-Made Millionaire for Dummies. Also, he's done the movie The Opus, the movie The Gratitude Experiment, and The Treasure Map. And we're going to talk today a little bit about the wealth portion of things, but also the spirit that goes along with us. Welcome, Doug.
Thanks for having me, Rick. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you. So, Doug, how did you start and get into the industry of wealth and spirituality?
Well, it really actually began for me, I think, at a young age. I wasn't raised financially successful. Our family was sort of a middle-class family, and by the time I was in college or whatever, I just really had decided that I wanted to have a different financial future than where I came from. And so probably about that time I bumped into the book Think and Grow Rich, and for those of you who've read it, you remember that Napoleon Hill interviewed 400 of the world's top achievers of his day to discover the secrets of success. And so I actually read that book, and in addition to applying the principles, I went out and I started interviewing 400 of the world's top achievers, and naturally their lessons became the foundation of what I teach today.
That's fantastic. I've been to one of your seminars before and I really enjoyed it. I also noticed that there's a sort of an emanation or a feeling that people get from you, and I always get when we're around. What would you explain that to be for people and also in helping them in the wealth portion?
Okay. Well, I think, I can't really credit my success to me, but I can trace a lot of it down to one event that I spoke at. You see, I had gone to a lot of public speaking training programs where they said, if you want to, make an impact, stand at this part of the stage. If you want to do this, don't put your hands in your pocket, don't chew gum, stand here and pause and make it dramatic, right? And I was like, wow, that's like a lot to remember. So there was an event I was at and I was really nervous trying to remember all these little details that they gave me on how to be an effective public speaker. And there was another speaker also in the program. He could see that I was a little nervous and he took me aside and he said, I'm going to tell you something, that if you speak from here, and he pointed to his heart, it will go out and into here for the audience. So forget all that other stuff about putting your hands in your pocket and whatever. Just go out, be genuine, be authentic, speak from your heart, and it will resonate with those that it needs to resonate with. And so I've always found that more than trying to be polished and sort of the professional top speaker kind of looking person, concentrate on delivering value to people and do it with a sincere, authentic point of view.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, my background is being a friend to the world, and those are the spiritual teachings of all these Eastern philosophies and personal development that I've gone through, and I know that you feel exactly the same way, just to help other people. Can you tell us some of the ways that you help other people with your wealth projects?
Well, I guess the thing that's interesting is a lot of people do approach me and ask me, obviously we're here doing self-made millionaires for dummies and these things, and so everybody's like, make me a millionaire and make me rich. And the truth of the matter is if you look at it that way, you're missing the first fundamental lesson of becoming wealthy, and that's that wealth isn't always equated to money. I believe that, quite frankly, that money always follows the value that we bring to others. And so if we can really focus on creating something that affects the most people in the most powerful way, the wealth will flow naturally. And the other thing I guess with that is a lot of people think it takes money to make money, and it really doesn't. I believe that the resources follow the resourcefulness, and so it's just a matter of also really looking at where there's a need that needs to be served.
Good reason to follow Doug on DouglasVermeeren.com. And you've worked with some of the best, Doug. You've worked with some of the people from The Secret. They've been in your movies, The Opus and The Gratitude Experiment. Give us a little background on that.
Wow. Well, I think what happened for me in building those relationships is, again, kind of what we just talked about, having that resourcefulness. I came up with the idea to make my first movie, which really focuses on how to take a vision of what we want as people, how to turn it into a workable plan, and ultimately performance. And so I reached out to those that I thought also resonated with that message, that understood it, but also had the power to teach it. And very soon I had people from The Secret who were willing to participate and share their expertise. And since then, obviously I believe that if you put out something quality and heartfelt, that it opens doors. And so since then we've had the opportunity to have many of the top speakers in the world, not just from The Secret, but other top business leaders, people from amazing companies that you would know, like FedEx and Nike and Reebok and Southwest Airlines, and the list goes on of top business leaders and also celebrities that have loaned their expertise to me in creating either our films or the seminars that we teach or even the books that we have. So again, I think that that's the reason why these people are maybe such experts, is because they do recognize and want to participate and contribute when things are really for the greater good.
So Doug, tell us about your new book, Self-Made Millionaires for Dummies.
Wow. Well, it's an honor being part of the Dummies series, I guess, to start with. That's the first thing. I've read them. You've probably read them. Most of the audience has read them. But to be invited to be an author for them, that's kind of neat. So that's really overwhelmed me. And, as we talked with them about why they selected to have our content as the basis of that book, why they asked me to write it, I'm very honored that it really came down to the results that my students are getting. It's got nothing to do with me, because there's a lot of great wealth teachers out there. But I think it's the accessibility of the information. And that's one of the things I pride myself on, is that you don't have to have a degree in economics to understand the things that we teach. And you don't have to have this massive expertise or an enormous amount of money to start getting results. So obviously the Dummies people recognized how accessible our lessons and teachings were, our programs were to others, and that's kind of why they invited me to be involved.
Hey guys, Rick Titan here, just wrapping up the show. And remember, you call the shots, and that is the spirit of success.